E.T. here. Info for this video comes from Nigel Collins' book, Boxing Babylon, Behind the Shadowy World of the Prize Ring. Other sources too. One chapter in Collins' book, They Died with Their Gloves Off, zeroes in on the careers of two talented heavyweights of the late 50s, early 60s, Zora Foley and Eddie Machen. E.T.'s interest in these two talented fighters grew after reading magazines during the late 1950s, magazines being the only in-depth coverage of boxing at the time. I'm talking about Ring Magazine, Boxing Illustrated, and some others. And what seemed odd to E.T. then was that the top fighters, including up-and-comers like Cassius Clay, later Muhammad Ali, Cleveland Williams, even champion Floyd Patterson, avoided both Foley and Machen, preferring, less talented opposition. Now, Collins' book offers an overview of both Machen and Foley, their similarities and differences. Looking at similarities, both were at their fighting best at the same time, mid-50s through the early 60s. Both were respected by fans, but they were not particularly favorites, and that's mainly due to their common stand-up, defensive, counterpunching style. Both were avoided by champion Patterson. Both fought many of the same opponents. They beat Doug Jones, who else? I'm going from memory here. Mike DeJohn, Roger Reicher, Wayne Bethea. And they both either won or lost against some common fighters too. Brian London, Machen won that by KO. Foley lost to London on points. Who else? Carl Mildenberger. Foley gets a draw. Machen loses on points. Both lost to Sonny Liston and Ernie Terrell. They fought, Machen and Foley did, each other, not once but twice. The first time in 1958, it was a 12-round draw, described by one critic as the dullest bout ever. And that's because two counterpunchers usually don't make a good fight. They fought next in 1960, January. Foley won that one by decision. Both were better against aggressive opponents, which makes sense, being counterpunchers. Foley's best performances were his 2-round knockout of Henry Cooper. That was a big deal. 1961, he had a points win over George Chuvalo, former heavyweight champion Bob Foster, and of course the very tough Oscar Bonavena. Now, both eventually got title shots. Foley got his against Ali at Madison Square Garden. That was 1967. And I'm not going to say it was a fix, but here's the story. Muhammad Ali liked Foley, and everybody liked Foley. And he knew Foley was a little bit down. He gives him a money-making shot. You can see this. He carries him until the 7th round and then takes him out in a way that Foley didn't get hurt. Foley continued to fight until September of 70 when he lost by knockout to Mac Foster. Eddie Machen gets his title shot in 1965, like Foley's over the hill. He fought Ernie Terrell for the WBA title, and he lost by decision. But after that, in 1966, he takes on an up-and-coming fighter named Jerry Quarry and beats him. And that gets him a shot at Joe Frazier, who at the time was still a contender. Frazier knocked out Machen in 10 rounds, and of course that ends Eddie's hope for a title. After 2 more fights that he lost, Machen was done. So much for similarities. Both had very different personalities. Foley, the nice guy. He's a veteran of the Korean War, and he suffers severe frostbite, and it developed into gangrene. He almost lost some body parts. He was known for kindness. He puts up money for a friend's kidney operation. After he died, a newspaper eulogy said that the only reason Foley never became a champ was because he lacked a killer instinct. In his post-retirement years, Foley became the first black member of the Chandler, Arizona City Council. He was married, he had 9 children. He was very successful selling trucks for a dealership in Phoenix. Everybody wanted to buy a truck from Foley. Eddie Machen, on the other hand, he's yang to Foley's yin, a very troubled upbringing. In 1952, he's serving 3 years in prison for armed robbery. Throughout his adult life, he is beset with chronic, severe depression. Both Foley and Machen died too early, too tragically, a month apart. Foley, after his head struck concrete that surrounded a motel swimming pool. That was while he was roughhousing with a friend. Machen, after bankruptcy, during a time he was under psychiatric care. Eddie fell from his second-story apartment onto concrete below. Now, it's unknown if Machen was suicidal. He may have been sleepwalking. That may sound odd, but he was known to do that. Whatever, the official cause of death was shock and blood loss because his liver had been ruptured. At the time of their respective deaths, each was in a very different frame of mind. Foley, happy, good job, respected, living well. Machen, depressed, short of money. But both, to use Collins' phrasing, both Machen and Foley were struck down by that cosmic clown who hit them both in the face with a concrete pie. And that, boys and girls, is the story. Tap the thumb up icon, also the bell icon to be notified of new uploads. Share the video on social media and do comment below. Thank you.